Hey y'all, Moses here. In today's video, I wanted to bring you a little map guide for Cypher on Split, one of the currently 3 available maps in the Valorant closed beta. Split is a very twisty, turny map that has a lot of the axis spins on the middle portion of the map, which is right here. So I wanted to kind of give you guys a few little Cypher tips and tricks on this map, and also go over some of the setups that I normally do. So I like to play B on Split, mainly because it's just I don't know. I just pick a site, really. Cypher is an anchor. You can kind of play whatever. I prefer B. So here's the standard issue B setup. But I wanted to show you really quickly was a little camera placement I found that is pretty sneaky. Because the camera is very obvious. Depending on where you place it, like if a lot of people just want to throw it up on the B sign here, which is great. You get vision on both heaven as well as B main. But if you want to maybe have your camera last a little bit longer, I like to actually put it a little further back. It doesn't give you the same vision, but is a little bit better hidden. I like to chuck it up there. So if you're looking to it straight on, at least from the B approach, it's not nearly as obvious, but you get a very good vision there. So I like to leave that guy there. It might keep your camera alive a little bit longer and confuse enemies as they get perpetually hit by recon bolts. When it comes to the other setup, there's kind of like a default trap setup that you can set. I would probably put mine around here with my additional cyber cage going down here. So worst case scenario, you would probably be playing in heaven or upper B, mainly due to the control that upper B provides to the site, as well as to support mid, which is again a very important part of this map. So you can kind of play as Cypher in this upper B area, supporting mid while keeping a close eye on that B main entrance and triggering your traps and everything as time goes along. So if worst case scenario, you lose your support in mid, in vents, and they decide to come upper B, you can slow them down a little bit by retreating back onto the site. Probably upper here would be a good choice. Just kind of playing around this area, trigger your cyber cage, slow them down a little bit, and maybe if they get caught up in your trap, you can get an easy kill there as well as you try and defend against a B split or whatever it seems to be happening. So let's move on to the other site for the quick default, then we'll go into the nuances of this map. All right, so the A site is a little bit different. It can be a difficult site to defend without having all your traps get destroyed, but you can definitely leave like this would be I guess the standard setup to prevent a push up up A long. But this is not something that you're going to see a ton on this map. You're going to see a lot of pressure coming onto A from the upper side, either through vents and window, or through the ramp area here, as players will try and split A from upper and lower. So the other place you'd like to probably place your trap would likely be on the interior or the exterior of this particular approach. There's a couple of spots you can put it. You could set this up here with your smoke on the top of ramp, and kind of play here. Once the trap is triggered, you can kind of use this little angle here to kind of chill, peek in and out. It's just a difficult spot to defend with cyber cages here. So what I like to do instead is leave my trap in the window and leave my trip wire in the window as well. Depending, this trap positioning is not ideal. I would sooner have it on this location, so you're not getting flanked, and use the cyber cage as its own deterrent, just because people can see those traps as they'll be standing in window rather than just willy-nilly jumping out of it. So using the trap locations in a specific way is relatively smart. You can also just choose to hang on to your trap as well and use that wherever you like. Camera placement, again, same kind of issues in this site. There's going to be only a couple of places that are going to allow you maximum vision. In this case, it would probably be this spot to watch both the approach to ramp, the main entry into the site, as well as heaven or the window, whatever you want to call it. A few things to note in this site that I think would probably be useful is certain placement of your cyber cage in a if you're on the attacking side. If you want to obscure, you're also on defense. I like to throw my trap right around there, and the reason for that is it'll block both the approach from the main door as well as this right here. So this will kind of, for a time, slow down people from getting into this kind of looky-loo situation that often happens on the site, where you'll be wondering if you're playing back here whether or not an enemy will come this way around the pillar or this short way through the pillar. And again, you can leave a trap in here if you like to protect yourself, and then have your cyber cage down here, so you can play back here hoping that you have some cover or some assistance. If you don't, you're gonna have to play even further back, which is gonna make life difficult. So you'll be playing this difficult angle in the back of the site where you can trigger your cyber trap, force people through either the corridor this way where they'll hit your tripwire, or otherwise. So that's kind of the default mindset for A. It can be difficult, but you can control vision in this area relatively easily. But you're gonna have to be very active when your tripwires get triggered to step up and make sure you're getting that damage very early where you can. Same thing in the retake sense. If you're on the attacking side, I like to leave my traps in this area. Same situation. This smoke is kind of the default, or this trap location is kind of my default spot, because it's just going to cover 2 approaches, and you can kind of chuck your trap wherever you feel you're going to get the most pressure. Likely from window. It's the high ground location. That's where you're going to see most pressure, and smoking that off is going to be important. And even leaving your traps on the exterior. If you want, you might want to place it on a different wall, but you can leave it here as well. So when they do come out window, you'll have a better chance of the trap not being destroyed in the windowsill. So this is arguably a better spot for leaving your trap. So I'm gonna quickly switch sides and show you what it looks like from an attacking sense, and that mid area, which is very important, regardless of side, which can make life a little bit easier if you're playing Cypher. All right, so let's talk a little bit about mid and the attacking side for Cypher on this map. Again, because I'm typically, you're going to see mid being such a focal point, either deciding whether or not you want to go for a split push onto B or go through vents into A. It's going to be important, if you're not going through B main or your team doesn't have a presence in B main, to have some traps left behind you. Not necessarily a smoke or a cyber cage, but these tripwires, to make sure that if you guys are focusing on mid and trying to get up mid, that you'll have some presence in the B main area, so you don't get surprised, which is really one of Cypher's key abilities. Same thing here. You can kind of chuck your camera in these little kind of tricksy spots. That's not a great example. In like these little spots, there's one right there that you can use to watch this mid area without pushing out, so you kind of get an idea as to who's living where. You're not going to get vision to this little cubby behind the double boxes, but you have relatively good vision in cover to that area anyway, and these boxes are spammable, so you can do that. So you can hit that recon bolt and then use that distraction to either chuck a cyber cage, block off that middle area, and then get into B. Well, that's not the best smoke. I think you'd probably want to be further up before you chuck it. So as you come up, you can just kind of throw a cyber cage into the vents area, block that off, and then you're into B, or at least attacking upper B in that way. You can also leave traps in this area, in whatever placement you kind of like. There's this little kind of tricky spot that you can use that it's not really efficient. If you want to be just straight up, you can chuck a trap in there as you throw your smoke down. And that way, if someone does push out of vents trying to defend, they'll have the trap, and you'll have that knowledge as well. And as you come into the site, you can use your, well, yeah, I would throw my camera right up here to look into the site and see if you have anyone below you and that kind of stuff. Your camera's going to get destroyed relatively rapidly on attack, but that's just kind of the way she goes. Same thing on the A side. If you guys are coming through, if you have someone on the A side of mid, or if you guys are attacking through this way or onto A, you can leave traps and in this specific area. That way you have a flank defense, or at least some knowledge on your flanks as you guys are pushing up into ramp or through the main entrance. Really, how you leave your traps behind you on this map is going to be really dependent on where you guys are trying to push. But ultimately, at least have something behind you. And use your remaining abilities in a defense of the site once you take it. And really similar to the beginner's guide and other maps that I've talked about, you can set your traps in a similar way on attack as you can on defense, because you're trying to accomplish the same thing, which is preventing the defending team from getting onto the site and defusing your plant. So you can leave that stuff basically anywhere you like. And as far as the backside of mid on B, trap placement would probably be somewhere in these areas. As you move through the map, you can leave these traps in high traffic spots. Even the back of mid, if you guys for some reason find yourselves in the CT side. Realistically, it's about that mid control, and you can leave your traps both behind you in the B main entrance. You can leave one here if you guys are going full split into B and you want to check for rotates coming from A through sewer. You can do that there as well. Leave a trap behind. So if you're playing up this way and you have the spike down, it's normally going to be happening so quickly that it's going to be very brief glimpses of information. But that's kind of how I like to play Cypher, and because the B site has a little bit more creativity, with at least on the defensive side with where you can put your cameras, I like to say that Cypher should play B, but A is just as strong depending on how you want to set it up. But Split is a difficult map. So I hope that this was short and concise and gave you some good information. I'm always looking for new information on how to play specific maps on any character, or if you have any tips of your own for Cypher on Split as a map specifically, leave a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. You can follow me on Facebook, where I stream every day at facebook.com/wtfmoses, and on Twitter at wtfmoses, where you can send me your tips and tricks there as well. Thank you guys for watching. More content on the way, so be sure to subscribe to this channel. And until next time, I'll see you out there.